Okay, you're looking at a map of Europe that shows the topography. It's a very, very useful map for this course. The mountain range that goes through the center of Italy, it's called the Apennine Mountains. And I just had to look that up on Google. Uh, and I'm probably going to forget about it. So I'll say it again, Apennine Mountain Range. And this mountain range is going to prove quite brutal for the American, British, French, and Polish and other Allied troops that attack Italy from the south through Sicily. So take a look at that and get a sense of what our guys faced in the invasion of Italy. And let me give you a little bit of background on the Italian campaign. So basically, after the defeat of the German and the Italians in North Africa, which culminates in the spring of 1943, the Allies were trying to figure out what next in Europe, where to go next. And as you probably might have guessed by now, there was a fight between the British and the Americans about where next to attack. Churchill, sticking to his soft underbelly strategy, which is a peripheral strategy. That's one of the ways to think about it. Instead of going right at Germany, he wants to work around Germany, capture areas around Germany, bomb Germany, destroy public morale. Whereas the Americans, they just want to land in France. And if you're looking at this map, you can see that the terrain is much flatter. And the Americans just want to go at Germany. They just want to thrust into Germany. They want to go after Hitler's throat. Marshall especially. This was his instinct, very, very aggressive. And so there's a fight, and once again, Churchill wins. Long story short, Churchill argues for the invasion of Italy. He argues that it's going to be easy, that the Italians are not tied to Mussolini, their dictator, or to Hitler. He also points out that once the Allies capture Italy, Germany can be bombed from Italy, and there were a number of Air Force bases, Army Air Force bases in Italy after the capture of Italy. So that did happen. But what happens is that Churchill, backed up by Roosevelt, he wins again after. Sorry, my phone just rang. After the defeat of the Germans in North Africa. And so what we have is that the Allied forces come from, and it's a pretty quick jump from North Africa to into Italy. And so what we have is the Italian campaign. The Italian campaign. And one of the ways you can think about the Italian campaign is that Churchill wins again. Why does he win? Why does Roosevelt back him up? Well, the Allies just weren't ready to invade France in 1943. And the troops had to be used somewhere. Stalin's demanding a second front. And Churchill's very persuasive. He's a very charming guy. And he says, look, if we invade Italy, Hitler will send a lot of troops into Italy, that he'll pull troops from the Soviet Union, which he did to a certain extent. And that this is the best way to attack Germany at this point, through Italy, not through France. So he wins. And what we get then is the invasion of Sicily first. And I'm looking, there's Sicily right here, the Italian boot, there's Sicily. And and that happens in July of 1943. And then followed up immediately by the invasion of Italy. Okay. Now, I don't know if you saw the movie on Netflix, Operation Mincemeat. It's a pretty good movie. It lacks a lot of historical detail. There's actually a fantastic book called Operation Mincemeat. But anyway, what was it? What the Allies did is they managed to fool the Germans about where the Allied attack would occur after the North Africa campaign. Hitler was pretty sure that it would occur in Sicily, but what the British do, and it's a brilliant piece of espionage, and they convince Hitler that instead of the attack happening in Sicily, which it does in July of 1943, that the Allies are going to attack either further east or in Corsica, further west. So what the Allies are trying to do is they're trying to have Hitler not know where the invasion was going to start. It starts in Sicily. And they want him to disperse his troops so the Allies don't have to face as many German troops. Remember, these landings on the beaches in North Africa first, in Sicily, later in Normandy, these are very, very risky operations. I mean, the weather's always a risk. Defenders always have an advantage in this kind of a situation. And so what the British want to do is they want to confuse Hitler, which they end up doing, as to what the Allies' intentions are. So they come up with this, it's a crazy story. They come up with this plan, and what they do is they decide that they're going to fake the British out or the Germans out. And here's what they do. They find this poor homeless guy who has OD, and he's a guy in his late 20s, early 30s, doesn't really have a family. And what they do is they make this homeless guy, this corpse, they make him into a British officer. So they create a whole identity around this corpse. By the way, they have to put the corpse in the refrigerator because it takes a month or so to get this all worked out. So they take this homeless guy, they create an identity around this homeless guy, they put fake plans in a briefcase. They handcuff the briefcase to the body, and he's been dressed up as a British officer. And a submarine drops this body off the coast of Spain, where it's picked up. And the Germans and the French, the Germans were working very closely in Spain with the fascist government. Spain never becomes officially allied with Germany, but Spain was working very closely with Germany. And very quickly, this body gets into German hands. So once again, to repeat, what the British do is they find a body, they create a fake identity for this body as a military officer. They create a group of fake plans for the invasion of the next step after North Africa, which said that Sicily was not the next step, that the Allies were going to invade other territories. They put this in a briefcase. They handcuff the briefcase to the body. A submarine drops the body off the coast of Spain. It's picked up by fishermen, and very quickly it gets into German hands because the Spanish authorities were working closely with the Germans, and it goes all the way up to Hitler. It goes all the way up to Hitler, and Hitler buys it. He buys that the actual invasion was not going to be in Sicily, that it was going to be in Sardinia and Corsica, two areas that were not close to Sicily at all. And this is Operation Mincemeat. Very colorful name. And if you're into World War II, the movie's fun. They do a decent job, but the book, which is also Operation Mincemeat, is much better because it has all these just incredible details. You really just can't believe how this whole thing worked. But it did work. And so ultimately, the Germans were fooled by this British counterintelligence move, and they kept soldiers in Sicily, but they also moved some soldiers out of Sicily as well, to Corsica, to Sardinia, to these other areas that the British had fooled them into believing the British were going to attack. So this is one of the most spectacular successes, counterintelligence successes in World War II. And actually, you see this over and over and over again, how the Allies were able to fool the Germans